Welcome, Lotuses. Welcome to another episode of the Lotus Letters podcast. This is a special edition on tonight. We had our Lotus Ladies Luncheon on June the 28th. Woo! How does it go? It was phenomenal. Would you agree?
It was great.
The women were richly blessed. Everyone had an amazing time. We had good food, great fun, fellowship, door prizes.
Great energy.
It was. It was. There was no bickering. Everybody there genuinely wanted each other to be well and to win. And sometimes like you can kind of tell when it's not legitimate,
Right.
but it was very authentic. So I just want to say that. I know I went off on a tangent early about that, but again, welcome to the Lotus Letters podcast. My name is Maddie, and I have my daughter as the co-host tonight, Kayaja. Say hi, Kay.
Hi. You all can call me Kay.
Listen, she was not going to allow her brother to one-up her.
Never.
We actually scheduled, I'm sorry, not scheduled. We actually filmed the episode that aired on June the 28th in honor of the Lotus Ladies Luncheon. We filmed that over a year ago, or just at a year ago. And I think it's just phenomenal how we released it the day of the luncheon. And I couldn't have thought of a better opportunity or a better time to do so. More so because you just had to be there at the luncheon. We purposely did not record it because we wanted an intimate space, a safe space.
For people to share their own moments and to really gather nuggets about our relationship over our time in therapy, over our time as mom and daughter.
Right. And it was real, it was raw, and it was relevant. It was definitely, I know I've already said relevant, but I wanted to say it twice, necessary. It means the same thing. Kay is going to open up tonight reading a letter that she read at the luncheon. I feel like the letter really broke up a lot of ground, not just for her, but for a lot of the mother-daughter relationships that stayed for that particular segment. And there was not a dry eye in the house. This topic, mother-daughter relationship healing and children with their parents in general, is a very near and dear topic to me because I come from an era where children were told to just be children and not really have a voice. And I believe in children not having a voice. There were a lot of things that were left unsaid that needed to have and swept under the rug, and it needed to have been said. And I've always tried to afford my children a place to say what was necessary. The one thing that I did not do is provide a place where we really were able to unpack it, talk about it, deal with it, and heal from it. So Kay's going to read her letter, and then she is going to actually ask me questions on tonight. On Saturday, I asked her questions, and one of the questions that came from the audience was, what is a question you would have liked for your mother to have asked you? So now I'm going to give her the opportunity on the podcast to ask me questions after you hear her letter. So without further ado, thank you for your patience.
Dear Mom, there's a lot I could say, and honestly, most of it has been sitting in my chest for a long time. Not because I didn't try to speak, but because every time I do, I feel like you don't hear me, or worse, you twist what I say until I can't even recognize my own feelings anymore. So let me be clear now. I'm not writing this to argue. I'm writing this because I need a space to be me, fully, honestly, loudly, softly, and completely. And somehow around you, I don't feel safe doing that. You say things that cut. You treat me like a child should be corrected instead of a daughter to be understood. You make me feel like being sensitive, expressive, or emotional is a weakness, but it's not. It's my power. It's how I process the world. It's how I love. Sometimes it feels like you're jealous of me or in competition with me. And that breaks my heart. Because all I've ever wanted is to be seen by you. Not compared, not picked apart, not mocked. Seen. Loved for who I am, not punished for what I remind you of or what I have that you didn't get. You treat me like I'm too much, too emotional, too soft, too bold, too sensitive, but I'm just me. And I'm done apologizing for that. I know you've been through things. I know you weren't given the tools to mother softly. I even understand, but I can't keep shrinking to make our relationship work. I'm not your emotional punching bag. I'm not your redo. I'm not your competition. I'm your daughter. And I deserve kindness. I deserve peace. I deserve to become who I'm meant to be, uninterrupted. You don't have to agree with me, but I will no longer let your energy define how I feel about myself. I'm not yours to mold, I'm mine to become. From here on out, I protect my peace, even if it means loving you from a distance. Me.
I am super duper proud of you. One, because you were very transparent. You spoke from a pure place. These are your legitimate feelings. I don't have to agree with them. I don't have to speak to them. I just want to sit and I want to process. But I also want to say, I see even the difference in reading your letter from Saturday to now. Saturday, it was very emotional.
Yeah.
However,
Now I feel more empowered and okay with saying the words I wrote because on Saturday or June 28th, I felt like I didn't want people to judge my mom, especially for how I felt about my mom. And I know sometimes when outsiders are looking into, I guess, our fishbowl, a fishbowl is on display and people have the chance to make their own ideas and concept about like what's happening in the fishbowl. And so I really just wanted people to know that I wasn't trying to say you were a bad mom or like, just punish you. But I just wanted my voice to be heard. And I knew women that were sitting in the audience, they were also once daughters at one point.
Right.
So they could relate.
Some of them.
Yeah.
And some of them were or are the mom that you were referencing.
Right.
I'm super proud of you. I can't say that enough. And I'm not saying that for the camera. I'm saying that because I really am. Even in the short amount of days, how you said that you're empowered. We are able to have a conversation. Um, One of the challenges sometimes when you have children that you are close to, the challenge is sometimes their transition from being a child to being your teenage child to being your adult child. They're still always to be your child, but there's different levels of respect and how we handle and we approach matters. So again, I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
What's the questions? I'm super excited. She asked me, did I want to see the questions beforehand? I was like, no. The people that come sit on this couch, they just kind of got to get with it. So here we go.
So I kind of broke it up into 4 segments.
Okay.
So we're going to start from our past.
All right.
So, question number 1, what did you think I'll be like when I grew what did you think I'd be like when I grew up? And how close was your guess?
You've always been a girl's girl. So I didn't really see that changing. You're definitely a girl's girl. Um, I've always seen you as a fashionista. I can remember when Kay was 4 and I would lay her clothes out and she would come and change her clothes up and say, no, I want to wear this. So you've always been very opinionated. Um, I would say the person that you are now, um, a boss in your own right, a creative, embracing femininity, really a girl's girl. Because let's be real, you had 4 brothers and a dad. You're the only girl. So you've been provided the space to do that and to be that.
Okay. How do you think our relationship looks to other people?
I think that they see that we're genuinely mother, daughter, and friend, and we are. I think a lot of times people don't know the things that we go through behind the scenes, and it's definitely not for everybody to know. But now that we are navigating and working through those things, and we're sharing our triumphs and our trials and our failures and our lessons with people, I think it more so helps you to be able to open up about it. Because you know me. I'm like,
ready.
I'm ready because I'm like, I don't want to be a public success
Right.
and be a private failure.
Right. You're very transparent, whereas me, I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm very private and selective about who I let around me or what information I want shared.
But
And I think that's for all of us,
I
honestly.
was about to say, I
It
am
is.
kind of private. However, there are certain things I don't mind sharing because I believe that my oil, and you hear me talk about that a lot, is to help empower people. Is to help my transparency, I believe, helps with deliverance. I believe it helps people to know, hey, somebody else survived it.
Yeah.
I can too. So I get the private aspect because I am learning to not be vulnerable with everybody or vulnerable in every space like I used to be. I used to be. I'm using more discernment these days. So definitely,
I
definitely.
think your truth allows others to be set free. They they feel more comfortable sharing their downfalls,
Right.
their triumphs, or just trying something new. Because a lot of times we all have these like bright ideas, and we never know what's going to work or what's not going to work or what steps are going to work. And so I think a lot of times when you do share your process with people, they get some type of like adrenaline, like, oh, let me try this, let me push this, let me really stay true to this idea because you're so open and honest about what works and what don't work. And I hate when people say like stay in your lane because sometimes you should venture out of your lane. But I feel like you know what's your lane and what's not really your lane, what you're very passionate about, and you stay true to yourself and your values and your morals. So
I
think
do.
that's another thing that helps.
I do.
Another question is, when did you realize I had my own mind?
When you were young, young, you have, as much as your letter says that sometimes you retreat, I believe that is true, or that you have been on a path where you have retreated or kind of
Played safe.
right,
I
played
like-
safe.
Yeah.
Right, played it safe. I believe that there have been times you've done that, especially times when you felt I was already overwhelmed. So you chose to not add to whatever you thought my pressures were or are. But as far as speaking your mind, I'm gonna always do that. I'm gonna always do that. You're gonna find a space. So it may not have been at that particular time, but I feel like we do, but you and I, well, all of you with me, actually have an open door policy. I believe it's like you said, and what I've said religiously here. I believe you all sometimes hold it maybe a little longer than necessary, and that I should have never placed that weight on you all, indirectly or directly.
It's to me, it's a struggle because I feel like as a child, it taught me sometimes timing is very important.
You learned that early.
I've learned that very early. Timing, tone, and how you say something and present information. I feel like it allowed me. Is this very important? Can she wait like a day or two, or can she wait a couple more hours to get this information? You become aware of your surroundings very early on, but then in some cases, it might feel like neglect. Oh, I really should tell her this, but I know she's overwhelmed and I don't want to overwhelm her even more. And so now I'm not going to say it. And sometimes you kind of got to juggle and feel it out.
there's nothing wasted, right?
Right.
So you were able to learn something from that.
Right.
However, as a child or even as a teen, transition and navigating your own life or your brothers navigating their life, there are just certain adult responsibilities that you all are not
Right.
meant to carry at an early age.